watching Cron On, streaming now from Cron 4, the Bay Area's local news station.
I could feel myself losing oxygen and recall thinking to myself, this is how I'm going to die.
I feel like I went to hell and back to protect them and the people in this room. But too many are now telling me that hell doesn't exist, or that hell actually wasn't that bad. The indifference shown to my colleagues is disgraceful.
Gut-wrenching testimonies from the Capitol police officers about the January 6th insurrection. A House committee assigned to investigate the riot held its first hearing yesterday and heard from 4 officers. And among the committee members is South Bay Representative Zoe Lofgren. She joins us now with to give us more insight from the room. Representative Lofgren, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
What is it for you to finally be in that room, be a part of a hearing, and hear the emotional testimony, just being given like that?
I thought the officers, each one of them, were simply amazing. What the story they told of their day, what they went through, their courage they were hurt, they had been injured, and they just turned right back out and continued the fight to protect the Capitol, to protect the people in the Capitol, and ultimately they all understood to protect democracy. They were fabulous.
They're Capitol police officers, meaning they are trained to keep everyone safe, regardless of party affiliation. We know that Speaker Pelosi rejected the 2 picks to be a part of the committee, the 2 GOP members. They're obviously Representative Kinzinger and Representative Cheney are Republicans, and they are part of the committee. I feel like we say it all the time, this shouldn't be a political issue. The safety of those trained to keep everyone safe was at risk that day. Do you think that the members that were denied to be on the committee would have made this more of a political issue than it should be, especially after hearing the kind of testimony we heard yesterday?
Well, I have no idea what the members who were disallowed would have done. There's no way to know that. However, it is important to note that Mr. Jordan did tell the press today that he had spoke with then President Trump on the day of the event. He is going to be a witness, I'm sure, before the committee, and that was one of the reasons why it would be problematic for him to be a member of the committee. They also dismissed the entire committee. There were 5 Republicans, 2 discounted the effort. 1 is going to be a witness. Who knows? The other may be as well. The 2 Republicans who are on the committee are very conservative. As Liz Cheney mentioned, she doesn't agree with the Democrats on the committee on hardly a single policy issue. But we are of one mind on defending the democracy and on making sure that our constitutional republic continues. That is beyond partisan politics.
And it was obviously a very, very emotional first day. We saw Representative Kinzinger get emotional and get choked up as he was speaking. What was it like for you, having to effectively relive everything that happened that day and hear it from the mouths of those that were there to protect people? How is it for you personally to hear such emotional testimony and then see members of the committee themselves get emotional?
Well, each of the members of the committee had a different experience on January 6th. I was on the floor of the House along with Representative Raskin and Schiff. We were evacuated, but as we were being evacuated, these officers were out at hand-to-hand combat with people armed with billy clubs and hockey sticks, taking bear spray in the face so that we could be evacuated. And I was thinking how close, not only did members of Congress come to, physical harm because we never encountered the rioters face to face, but how close the constitutional processes came to being disrupted, the most serious outcome possible.
What is next? What can we expect to happen with this investigation and the hearings next?
Well, we will continue our work. Obviously, as one of the officers said, we have the hitman, now we need to find who sent the hitman. And that is our job, to uncover what led up to January 6th. How did it come to be that 10,000 Americans assaulted these officers viciously, thinking somehow that they were doing the patriotic thing? Who spun them up? Who funded them? Who in power made this happen? We need to discover all of that, and we need to make sure that nothing like this ever happens again.
Is a subpoena possible for any members of the Trump administration?
Well, we're not going to. The object isn't subpoenas. The object is the truth. So we will go wherever we need to uncover the truth.
And House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, she has been facing Republican opposition on pretty much everything to do with this committee. What are your thoughts on her role on the committee?
Well, I mean, we did what our first choice was, an independent commission. And Republican leader McCarthy had all kinds of things that he wanted in that commission structure. And we actually agreed to every single thing that he asked. And he still opposed it. He could not take yes for an answer because I don't think he wants to uncover the truth, apparently, from his behavior. So with the commission not being approved, this was the next best thing we could do. And a special select committee, we've had them many times in Congress before. Luckily, we have a bipartisan select commission. Every member of that committee, every member of the committee is very serious about our role and united in finding the truth. So that's our mission. I'm proud to be a member of that group. And I actually think there will be no conflict among the members, because even though we are of different parties and we have different political opinions on other issues, we're completely united on this.
Now, obviously, there are two Republicans on the committee, Representative Cheney and Representative Kinzinger, both who have been critical of Trump. The two other members that were to come on, staunch Trump supporters. Wouldn't it have made more sense to try to pick GOP members that were somewhere in the middle, at least for the other two, where it's not such a polarized group within the same group?
Yeah, I think you're missing the point here. McCarthy sent over 5 people, 2 of whom were completely, it was ridiculous. 3 were our Trump supporters, and they were acceptable. The speaker said that we would accept those nominees, and instead McCarthy withdrew all of them. Meanwhile, Congresswoman Cheney agreed to serve on the committee, and Congressman Kinzinger as well. So we're just going to proceed. All of that dust in the air that Mr. McCarthy is throwing is not going to prevent us from uncovering the truth. That's our mission now.
Well, hopefully the truth, whatever that truth is uncovered and the goal of this committee is met. Before I let you go, I did want to ask you something about an unrelated topic. Obviously, we've seen a huge spike in COVID cases, the Delta variant amongst the unvaccinated folks. Those who are vaccinated are also, they're deemed to be spreading the virus. What are your thoughts? Santa Clara County's Delta cases are increasing pretty substantially as well. What are your thoughts on the CDC's position on having people, regardless of vaccination status, wear their masks indoors again, and where the country is moving? Unfortunately, we're moving backwards to some degree. So what are your thoughts on where we are with all of that?
My thought is do what the CDC says. I am. And, this whole issue has become ridiculously politicized. It has nothing to do with politics. It has only to do with medicine and science. Apparently, from what the physicians and scientists are telling us, this variant is highly transmissible, much more than the original COVID. I mean, thousands of times more. And so let's take precautions. Let's not get it. Let's not give it to little children who can't get vaccinated. That's what this is about, keeping everyone safe. And, you know, do I love wearing a mask? I do not. But compared to getting COVID, or even worse, giving a child COVID, it's a small inconvenience for the time being.
Well, hopefully we'll be able to reverse what has been happening with that as well. Well, Representative Lofgren, we always appreciate you taking time out to speak with us, especially with the situation that's going on with the investigation. And we'll all eyes on what the committee does and how things move forward. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Anytime.